We're back with more real estate update. James Wedgeworth. Let's go over selling a home. I know you've told me this before, but I don't get tired of hearing it. What are the biggest mistakes people make when they're selling their home?
Well, people automatically assume their house is going to sell the first day it's on the market. Most of the time it doesn't, even though in 22 it did. So the biggest mistake people make is overpricing their home.
Can you talk them out of that, though? I mean, you
No.
know now.
Well, I try, but there's a price to sell at, and there's a price. Okay, first of all, the buyer does not care what you need. They really don't care. They're only interested in, I had a lady one time, and I never will forget, I went to list her house, and she said, Mr. Woodruff, I need to walk out of the attorney's office with $650,000. I'm sitting there thinking, this is a $550 house, not a $650 house. And I said, well, how do you figure that? She says, real simple. Oh, $300 on this house. I'm buying a house in Cincinnati where my brother lives. I have it under contract for $350. 300 plus 350 equals 650. I said, that's not how you price the house. She said, well, you're the best, Mr. Woodruff. I want you to explain to the people. And I'm going, you got to be kidding me.
That's
and
a little
eventually we sold the house. Guess what we sold it at?
$550.
$550.
And was she okay about it eventually?
Well, eventually, but it took her a while.
Did you start it at what she wanted and it didn't move, or what?
It didn't move. You see, nobody looked at it, you know, I mean, and she kept saying, you're not doing a good enough job advertising. I said, well, the buyers aren't stupid, you know. So, but I said, if you want to sell the house, here's why. You show them the comps, show them what similar houses are sold for. I never will forget, it was a listed house one time. And I said, well, Shirley Johnson's house over here sold for X. And she said, she does not even have a ceiling fan. I have two. And I'm going, well, houses were built the same time, same size. And two ceiling fans are not worth $10,000.
Oh my gosh.
So I should write a book on some of this stuff, but yeah, the mistake they make, and it's human nature that want more. It's just the way everybody is.
Sure.
So they say, this is what I want. Of course, everybody loves their home.
But not everybody that walks through it. Somebody might go in and say, not for us.
Not for us. We hear that all the time. Nice house, but didn't ring my bell, is what they'll say.
Well, you've said to me, didn't you once, that people can decide, or you think that sometimes they make up their mind within a few minutes?
No, a few seconds.
Oh, that's
They walk
quickly.
in. I remember I had a lady one time that, it's probably going to take too long to tell these stories, but I said, I got a house you ought to buy. And she had a lot in the same area. She said, I'm going to build them a lot. And I said, this is a great house. You need to come look at it. I'm not going to look at it. So the receptionist thought we were having a fight because we walked out and the lady's screaming at me. I said, just humor me for a minute. We walked in the front door. She turned around, she said, I'll take it. And I said, nope, you hadn't even looked at it. You got to look at every room. So I made her look at every room.
But she knew that quickly.
She knew instantly that was a great house for the money. And she's told that story every time I see her. She tells that story about.
It's a good story, though.
It's a great story.
It is a good story. I know when we talked about looking back over the years, you recall, wow, the first time you sold that $1 million house. Now there are homes on the market here on Hilton Head Island. One was written up for $8.6 million, highest price. I know you have one because you told me in your inventory. Is that it that much? Is it 8 something? One of yours?
8.2, I think.
I mean, how high will this go eventually? And those have to be a tough sell.
Well, you don't have a huge amount of buyers in your buyer pool for $8-10 million houses.
How do you find them, or do they find you?
You find them. You find them. You got to look for them. It's not easy. But the deal, I've been here 40 years, and like I said, I remember the first $1 million house I sold. I sold the first $3 million house on Hilton Head. I sold the first $2 million fairway house on Hilton Head.
Wow.
So I've had some first in there, but everything costs more nowadays. You got to realize what was I don't know, if you looked at the price of the gas 40 years ago and looked at it today, it may be the same percentage from X to X.
Right.
You know, it's what I call inflation.
Yeah.
You know.
And by the way, the latest news is inflation has gone down, which we're doing this right after Thanksgiving, a week or so after, which is good news.
Well, it's gone down, but it's still too high.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So we've got a ways to go, and we don't know if that'll impact mortgage rates right away.
It should, but it won't do it right away. You gotta let it filter down.
Okay. Looking ahead to 2024. I would guess, because you've told me this too, that you always say the RBC Heritage is a great time for real estate on the island, or exposure to the island, right? Is that the biggie of the year pretty much?
Well, you know, usually March and April are the best 2 months a year to sell houses, even though we sell them year round.
Yeah.
And back, used to, now the market's changed now. When people, I used to not list houses in December, I just tell people wait to January.
Right.
The market is still strong enough now that when people say, should we wait to February to list or list now? I say probably list now because you don't have much inventory in your price range. Now that's the last 2 years, first time I've said that. 38 years before I said don't list it.
Well,
Wait
James
until-
Wedgeworth, you know, we're already out of time, but I want to hear what you have to say once we get into 2024. And
we'll
we see
figure
how
it out.
I know you will. All right, thank you so much. And we want to thank you for watching this edition of Real Estate Update.